Mine used to say Jesus lover, boy mom, Chicago transplant, or whatever. Like all of these different things that are about me. But the whole idea is that your bio is your quick way to hook people, and they're going to decide really quickly, hey, is this somebody who I actually want to follow? Hey friends, I'm Rosemary Lewis, your homegirl, and I'm so excited that you are here. I do not care what it looks like on Instagram or HGTV. This whole being a realtor thing is not for the faint at heart. In 2017, I quit my job as a teacher to follow my real estate dreams and quickly found myself overwhelmed and struggling. Fast forward to today. Not only have I been recognized as one of the leaders in our industry, I have actually grown a business that I absolutely love. I don't care if you're a brand new agent trying to figure out how to get started or a veteran feeling overwhelmed and just stuck. I was just like you, and I totally get it. Many times I wish there was someone that I could just talk to about all the challenges I was facing. And that is why I created this space just for you. Like best friends do, I'm giving you all the tea related to navigating and thriving in these real estate streets. If I can do it, guess what? That's proof that you can too. Everything's better with friends, so let's succeed together. Welcome to the Real Estate Bestie Podcast. Well, hello there, besties. Welcome to episode number 180, where we are going to talk about 10 mistakes that I see realtors making on the social media. And because, I just, don't want you out here flying blind and just giving you insights as you are building your social proof, I want to help you just think through so that you don't fall into some of these mistakes. But before I get into it, bestie, we are approaching our second birthday, 2 years of the Real Estate Bestie podcast. And I cannot believe that this little idea that I had in my head has grown to this amazing, wonderful community, events, courses, like all the things. And you make it so special. And speaking of special, I want to celebrate our birthday together. And I was trying to think, how can we do it? So I think that we're going to do a little virtual celebration of the Real Estate Bestie birthday party. But if you can, I have this idea and I'm still working it out, but head on over to rosemarylewis.com/birthday. And I just want you just to do a really quick little something about who you are, where are you serving, and if you have one nugget, one thing that you've learned from the Real Estate Bestie podcast, because I want to celebrate all of us and all of our learning and growing over the past 2 years. So again, rosemarylewis.com/birthday. It's going to be like a little 2-minute situation, not even 2 minutes. You probably can fill it out in a quick 90-second, but I want to know exactly who you are, bestie. You've been listening, you've been sharing the podcast, and just something that has resonated with you to help you in your business, in your Jesus walk, whatever. We'd just love to hear a little bit more about that. So today's podcast, now I didn't go back on what I was going to talk about, but I was like, I can actually incorporate it because a couple of weeks ago, I was just in a space where I needed a little bit of a break from social media. And I have been consistently showing up on social media since I really started my real estate career. It's a part of the way that I connect with people. I generate leads, I generate relationships. But sometimes in the end, it's a way that I have connected with you. 9 times out of 10, and I would love to hear that. 9 times out of 10, bestie, we have been connected because of social media, right? Because of YouTube or because of Instagram, or maybe somebody mentioned the podcast to you. So I am definitely, one of those people who understands the gift that social media is. And I am thinking of so many people. I'm not going to start calling y'all by name, but I can just think of people that, I have met in person, that came to the Real Estate Bestie retreat, that are in coaching, that have done courses, or that I just meet on the street and you hey, and now we end up being in real life relationship with each other. And I am grateful for the gift that social media can be. However, sometimes it can be overwhelming. And there was a point, when, I feel like my feed was full of either political posts, people arguing in the comments, or people fake flexing on whatever business venture they got, or, agents being nervous and, all fear mongering about the NAR verdict, to, it just felt like it was just being very heavy. And quite honestly, showing up didn't feel fun, right? It wasn't fueling me. And this is where I just had to have a conversation with myself and say, you know what, sis, it's okay to step back and take a break and pour into myself and just reevaluate some boundaries and things that I want to have around social media, so that I'm not so busy being social on social media that I am antisocial in my own house and in my real relationships. And I'm pretty sure that there have been times where you have felt that too, but just wonder, like, what is going to happen to your business. And I'm just here to tell you, that it's okay to give yourself a space, give yourself some breaks, to put some boundaries in place, and like, it will all not crash and burn while you are away. Now, for those of you who just, you got all these like weird things in your head on why you can't show up on social media, I'm not giving you permission to never, ever, ever, unless God is, listen, if God is calling you and telling you don't need it, then who am I, right? You can do all things. But if you are just avoiding for the sake of avoiding because you haven't overcome just that fear of showing up, that fear of looking thirsty and salesy and all that other stuff that clouds our vision and holds you back from actually being resourceful, that's not what I'm talking about, okay? Like, we can unpack that in another episode. But I'm talking about, those people who like, you're showing up, but like, it just like, it's just taking you down a rabbit hole and you just feel a little bit of heaviness. You might just need to step away from the technology for a little bit. And I did that over the past couple of weeks. I'm back on social regularly, but with some different boundaries in place. And, I'm just really monitoring my health in that area, my mental health in that area. And I just want to encourage you to do the same. But now, with that being said, okay, if we're going to be on the social, there are some mistakes, and I'm going to kind of go through these quickly. I go over them in more detail in, the different coaching programs the coaching program that I do, Accelerator. We really talk about identifying our ideal customer and really targeting our social media to speak to that person and essentially just develop relationships when we sleep in. If you are interested in just going deeper and understanding that, we're actually opening up the coaching in the end of October 2024. So we're a couple months away. And first thing, the way that I open up coaching is first I, look at the people that are already in coaching, giving them opportunity to continue. Then we open up to the wait list, and then we open up to everybody else. So if you are interested in joining the wait list so that you will be the first to know, you'll book an actual one-on-one call with me just to figure out like if this is something that you need in your business, like literally no pressure. But if you kind of sort of been thinking about it, like, I'm gonna tell you, coaching is a game changer. I myself just re-upped with my business coach because, I was like, there is no way that I'm going to hit the goals that I need to hit without having somebody with that bird's eye view and that different level of experience just guiding me. So I myself am like a student and not only the teacher. And I think that that's also a great, whether it's me or anybody else, that's something that you want to look at in the person who's guiding you. Like, are they also investing in themselves in the way that they're offering you to invest in yourself through them? So go to rosemarylewis.com/coach and you can hop on the wait list. And again, when the time is open, we'll send everything to you. You book a call with me. Now, let's get into these mistakes on the social media. Okay, I'm going to go through them quickly because this can't be a 10-hour podcast, but I'm hoping like this is definitely going to be one that you probably want to pull out like a pen or something like that. You might come back to it and listen to it again later. And definitely you want to stick around for number 9 because that is one that I think that we just don't pay close attention to. So number 1, mistakes that I see people making on social media is in their bio, okay? With your bios, and especially your Facebook business page and your Instagram business page, I often see like you got to think that when someone comes to your bio, they need to figure out very quickly who you are and how can you help them. I think that too often I see people, I'm not hating on, like, just because I'm not in a sorority, I'm not hating on y'all, but I'm a Delta. Like mine used to say Jesus lover, boy mom, Chicago transplant, or whatever. Like all of these different things that are about me. But the whole idea is that your bio is your quick way to hook people, and they're going to decide really quickly, hey, is this somebody who I actually want to follow? And if it's only about you, or don't even get me started on the people that sell real estate, but you also sell plexus, but you also a life coach, and you also a yoga teacher, and all, like, you got to pick something, right? So literally, I'm going to encourage you to formulate your bio that quickly just states who you help. So I help first-time home buyers, right, realize the American dream. I help people rebuild their credit and position them for home ownership. I help families sell their first home and find their perfect home. Whatever. Yeah, does that make sense? I know I'm being very vague. I go a little bit deeper in coaching, but just really outline who you help. I help veterans get into homes at 0% financing, right? I help people with credit score under 700 find the perfect home with 3% down. And I'm getting hyper specific there. You can literally just really think through like who your ideal client is, and your bio should start with I help, okay? I help, I serve, I do. I think mine says something along the lines of like, I help women in real estate get unstuck and hit the 6-figure mark and beyond in their business, right? So literally, what do you do? Who are you there to serve? Who are you there to help? And then also put in the city. Oftentimes we have all this information in our bio, but if someone comes to your page, they don't even know who you serve. And that was something, or where you serve. That was something that came up for me, even on this podcast. I would have people that are like, oh, I had no idea that you were in Dallas, Texas, that you were in the North Texas suburbs. And you know why? Because I wasn't saying that, right? So now I put it out there all the time to let you all know, besties. Yes, I am in North Texas. I don't only do the podcast. I also help people, buy and sell homes right here in this area. And we have a full team who does that. So for your referrals, just want to throw that out there. Okay. So in your bio, number 2, this is kind of going off of the bio. If everything in your social media feed is all about you, there is a problem. There is a book, and it's called Building a StoryBrand. And it really talks about how the best marketers are storytellers. And literally, like, even if you think about yourself, you probably learn the best lessons, or you are most engaged when there is a story, right? And a lot of times though, like, people want to tell their story like, yo, I got a sob story just like you got a sob story. Everybody got sad stuff and hard stuff and things that happen in their life. But when it's all about you, then you lose the audience. So what we have to do is to be able to invite people into your social media, where even if you tell about yourself, you are finding things that they will be able to resonate with and position them. Like, building a story brand talks about your ideal customer, the person that you want to do business with. They need to see themselves as the hero in the story, but you are the guide to help them get there. I'm thinking about, there is a company, I'm not really going to call it, well, I don't care to tell y'all. Like, it's a window cleaning company, and they actually reached out to me, cold called me. They were really cool. I actually had them come and clean my windows a couple times. But let me tell you why I stopped working with them, because they social media actually started getting on my nerves. And that may sound petty, but like, every post was about like, we from the gutter, like, it was almost like they just threw shade on everybody else. And I get it. They're proud of themselves. They're proud of their business. And I'm not trying to sound like a hater, but like, every single post is about your haters and your this and your that and you this and you that. It just got old to me, right? And I actually like unfollowed. Like, I didn't want to just really read that, because honestly, it's like they were coming to social media for all of this validation. When, look, if you are doing exactly what God called you to do, you don't need the applause, or you don't need to announce to everybody about your haters every time you get a bid done for your business. So let's make sure that it's not just all about us. Now you have to, and this sounds like an oxymoron, because you do have to share about you, but share about yourself in a way where you are positioning it and making the person that's viewing it it feel like, oh, I'm getting to know them because I'm finding things that resonate with me. Okay. If it's just like me, it gets weird. Okay. Then here's number 3. I love you. Let me tell you this. I love you. My team says that I say all the time when I'm about to have a hard conversation. Sometimes people divert and don't always go in to have a hard conversation because we think that people are going to, like, you're being mean. But sometimes you just have to have hard conversations and be honest with people. And what I'm about to say, it may low-key offend somebody, and just know that that is not my heart. I am not looking to offend you, but it has to be said. If we are being overly sexual on our social media, you're just going to invite the wrong thing into your life, okay? And let me just tell you this, sisters and besties, like girlfriends. I know you are beautiful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm a woman too, and as I am, y'all, I'm nearing the end of my George W. Bush year, right? I will be 44 in September. I'm headed to my Obama year, and I know that even as I get older, there are just, like, I love to be affirmed. I gotta tell my husband, like, man, you gotta tell me I'm pretty a little more, right? Because just as it's just something about those affirmations and just building your confidence, and I get it. But if you on your social media, if I am confused, like, I'm thinking of how many times am I watching a post and like you showing a house, but I'm like, are we showing a house or are we showing your butt? Like, I am very confused on what's happening here. And what tends to happen is that you're putting all of I'm not even going to talk about what other people, how somebody might perceive it. But if you're putting and you're building your life around like your body, what if something changes, right? What if you gain weight, or what if you get a sickness, or what if, I don't know, you have an illness or you get a limp? I don't know. Like, whatever it is, there is so much more to us. And what really truly makes somebody beautiful is what's on the inside and when it comes out on the outside. And sometimes I think that we think that, I always crack the jokes about walking slow in Louboutins and, being overly, presenting a lifestyle that you don't necessarily, that's not actually honestly who you are. And sometimes I see women, and not only in our industry, but in other industries, leading with that overly sexualization. And like, if that's what you have to do, or if that's what you think you need to do to get business, I'm telling you, that is not what you need to do. And there are definitely ways to celebrate you and who you fully are without us being like, okay, is this a strip tease? And I see that often. And I'm your big sister, I'm your real estate bestie, and I'm just gonna tell you, like, I love to look good too, right? I love to wear my little clothes and all that stuff. But we are like, let it be clear what we are selling, and you don't have to sell yourself short in order to sell homes. Okay, so over sexualization. Okay, now something else that I see, number 4, is like an overdue of these infographics, right? You're doing your market reports, you have all of this, high density text about what's happening in market trends. When you look at your feed, it's just like all fact, no fun, right? And definitely wanting to position yourself as a market expert, but our content needs to be engaging. And if you are going to do a market trend or a market report, maybe you do it as a video, like, hey, below I'm going to post all of the market trends and what's happening in Prosper, Texas. But let me show you what I've noticed as a real estate agent, right? I've noticed that appraisals, right, have been coming back really tricky. And this is something that I really want you to think about as you are pricing your house, like giving some real life market knowledge, or you just take one of those stats and you expand on it. But when it looks just so static, all of these like static posts, all of these like overly branded, but it's just so much information, then you might lose some of your audience, because we do need to actually engage. Okay. Number 5, something that people do, so a mistake that I see people doing, is that you are on social media talking to everybody. And this is what I mean, where they say a jack of all trades is a master of none. as you develop in your real estate business, there should be a niche audience that you are marketing to and you are talking to. But what I find is that when we try to talk to everybody and hit everything, sometimes people worry about niching down their conversations. But what it really does is when you niche down, you really find your ideal client, you find your ideal customer, and you help them find you. Like, you become a resource in that era. And now you are just going to be more efficient in everything that you do. But if one day you talking about, down payment assistance, and the next day you talking about luxury listings, and then the next day you talking about relocation, and then next day you talking about I can help you lease your house, and the next day you apartment locating, it's confusing for the person who is coming to watch you, and they just might tune out, right? Like, okay, what are we trying to do? I'm here to help you build wealth, but at the same token, I'm telling you about the people that give you 6 weeks free on your rental. Like, which one is it? Right? Am I wealth building, or am I paying my money in rent? So being able to really start to identify, and these are again the type of things that I help you walk through in coaching, is identifying who your ideal customer is, figuring out what problems they are, and now we are showing up on social media to talk through those issues. So don't be trying to talk to everybody, because when you talk to everybody, you end up talking to no one. Okay. Number 6, non-authentic. Now, we talked about this a little bit, like this kind of overlaps in a lot of different things, but show up authentically as you are. One thing that I find so funny, and I was just looking from the Real Estate Bestie Retreat, we did testimonials, people got to come and just talk through what their experience was at the retreat. And one thing that I found very interesting is that there were so many women who were like, oh my gosh, Rosemary is very much she's exactly how she shows up online. That's exactly how she shows up in person. And I thought that was interesting, because I do think that sometimes we feel like we have to put on this persona on social media so that people will like us. And that's just not it, right? So showing up authentically you, and I will give you a very, very small thing, but this is all the way true. When I first started on social media, I had a social media manager, this young lady named Ryan. Ryan was super cool. And Ryan, she was helping me build up my online presence, build up my page, different things like that, right? And Ryan would always post things about me, like coffee memes, and starting my day with coffee. She told me when I did a photo shoot to have a coffee cup and all this different stuff. And what I noticed is that everybody would think that I was this huge coffee drinker. And don't get me wrong, I like a good, in case you want to know my coffee order, here it is, because my birthday coming up. So if y'all want to send me some coffee, some Starbucks, I ain't mad at it. My coffee order is a shaken brown sugar, shaken espresso, light oat milk, an extra shot of espresso with a Splenda, okay, grande. And if I'm feeling funky, then I'll get some vanilla foam on top. However, I might drink that once every 2 weeks. I'm not a huge coffee drinker. And this may seem small, but there were times where I would meet with people and they would be I'll meet them for a consultation, and they're deep, those coffee people be deep, or tea people. And they would think that I'm deep into it. I'm I really don't like coffee that much. They're oh, really? From your social media? I thought, or they didn't even have to tell me. I knew why they thought I was a huge, coffee drinker. And I was okay, even that small messaging, it seems small, but it was kind of deceptive, right? So if you don't like working out, don't post your work, your one workout you do every 3, or if you do post it, say, look, I'm trying to get in this gym. Anybody else struggling with getting in this gym? You're going to get more people that resonate with that than people you trying to act like you hike every day and you about lost your breath on that mountain. Okay. So showing up authentically is important. And oftentimes I just see people who are so non-authentic, right? Even down to your photo shoots, right? And I'm not saying don't go out and look cute and all this stuff, but if I can afford Louboutins, I have thought about buying them at some points and all that stuff. And I remember once, like, somebody was like, oh, you should do a photo shoot with, like, all this designer stuff. But that's just not really how I show up in real life. So why would I even do these professional photos that aren't representative of how I show up in real life, right? So just being authentic. Okay. Number 7, mistake, not showing up regularly. Okay. Not showing up regularly. I'm not going to go all into detail about this, but you know who you are. Okay. Y'all, don't overthink it. Do not I was in a coaching session yesterday, and one of my clients, my coaching clients, she actually had a really cool, like, back to back. She sold a house to somebody that was 18, then somebody who was 24, and she's telling us all about it in the coaching session. And she's like, I did my videos and, like, I'm gonna post them later. And I'm like, well, what are you waiting on? Like, why are you waiting on it? Well, another time I was coaching somebody else, they were telling me about, how they went to do this video at the blueberry farm in their area because they wanted to show different things that people can do. And, like, that video to this day still never got posted because, she was so busy trying to be perfect that she didn't show up at all. So just show up regularly. I really, really think that Instagram stories are a great place to just show up. It's low pressure. You got 60 seconds. It only stays on there for 24 hours. And it's just a really easy place to just build relationship and just share things. And this is where, like, I know some people, like, sometimes we overthink it. You can be personal without being personable. So I'm going to give you a great example. Like, right now, I'm sitting in my closet and I'm doing this podcast. I literally just grabbed my cell phone and I am recording. Like, I have it in my hand and I'm recording. I'm talking to you now. I'm going to just put some music on the background. I'm going to throw it on my Instagram stories and I'm just going to say, hey, I love podcasting and talking to the besties. Be sure to check out the new episode. And you're going to see that. Like, I'm going to put it on the stories, maybe make a reel about it. But, it's just showing up regularly and we don't have to overthink it. And think about even in your own life. You watch the most, like, random people get dressed with me, my outfit of the day. Like, and I'm not saying you have to do that, but even the regular, boring, mundane things, like, bring the people on that journey with you and you will just be surprised on how you get to build and develop relationships. Okay. So definitely not showing up regularly is a mistake I see you making. Number 8, speaking too technical. Lead generation, you're using all of these words that are too big for the audience. Like, talk in layman's term, right? Like, hey, most 28-year-olds, well, I don't know because we are different, but most 28-year-olds or 33-year-olds, like, they don't feel pressed about a house to build wealth. But you know what? They do feel pressed, like, hey, I don't want you throwing away your money to a landlord and don't have nothing to show for it, right? That I'm saying the same thing, but now I'm saying it in a way that is a little more digestible. And I'm not saying that you have to dumb yourself down, but I do think that sometimes we use way too many technical words and you lose the audience. Okay. So, like, literally just having just open, regular conversations and not being too technical, that is a mistake that I see people being. They're being way too technical. I need you to stop doing that. Number 9, getting defensive on social media. Now, this does not only pertain to our real estate business, but I'm going to talk about it from a real estate perspective. But also, like, my mama would always say, pick and choose your battles. And let me tell you something that you will never see Rosemary Lewis doing on Al Gore's internet. Okay. That's arguing with nobody. Okay. And it just blows my mind how often I see people who are building businesses arguing over the internet, on the internet, about stuff that don't have nothing to do with them. Whether it's politics, you arguing for or against a brokerage, you trying to tell people that I deserve this because I'm a buyer's agent. Like, you sound angry, and I don't like working with angry people. Okay. And I'm not saying don't stand for stuff, like having, just some solid value systems and things like that. But if it's coming off defensive all the time, we are going to lose people. And honestly, like, the relative, I want my corner of the internet if someone comes in my space, I want them to honestly feel love and light. And here's the thing, for those of you who are believers, okay, let me just preach to you a little bit. Well, I preach to myself too. On the internet, arguing is not worth ruining my witness. You know what I mean? You just never know. That person who you are arguing with may be who your assignment is, to love them well, to love them just the way Jesus loves us. But you over here arguing about EXP or real. And at the end of the day, and I'm with EXP, at the end of the day, that ain't your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not about to get on this, and I'm not about to be arguing about NAR. This is why you have real life real estate besties that you can break things down. You can mastermind with, you can think through challenges that you're having in your life and in your business. It is not to happen on the social media. Okay. And I am just so sick of seeing just people in general just being so defensive and argumentative on the internet. And then here's the thing, like, you might get people clicking, but my ideal client, like the type of person that I prefer to work with, they are not dramaful. So if you just want to be popular on social media and get people clicking, what I find is that most often the broke people are the ones that get sucked into the drama. Amen. Let the church say amen. So I am looking to, not just be all Skittles and rainbows, but definitely be a positive side of the internet where all that drama does not exist. Okay. And then here's the last one. A mistake that I see people doing on social media. Comparing. I see so many agents, and this goes back to the not showing up authentically, and this is where things like imposter syndrome show up. You will compare yourself and how you're showing up and what you got going on to what somebody else does, and it will totally thwart your experience. And I'm gonna be honest. Can I be honest with you? I still struggle with this, right? I still have to remind myself daily, Rosemary, okay, I'll give you one. Sometimes I'll look in these different real estate Facebook groups, and then if people are like, oh, what's a great podcast for people to look at? I can't get butthurt if they don't know about Real Estate Bestie. Right? If nobody recommends Real Estate Bestie, I cannot get butthurt. And just like you can't get butthurt if you look on the social media and you see that this girl who you was at orientation with, you struggling to get your first deal under contract, and she has somehow closed 4 deals, right? You don't know the insides of their business, and we can't let what other people are doing to throw us off balance with what we are doing. And unfortunately, I see the comparison game. I see people throwing low-key shade and, just getting sucked into imposter syndrome, and it affects how we show up. We have to have the confidence and the courage and the belief in God to know, you know what? Just because she or he is winning, it doesn't mean that I'm losing. And just because they lose, and don't mean that I should gloat because I'm winning, right? So just really having heart checks and not, killing that comparison. My girl Nona Jones wrote a whole book about it. But killing that comparison, because it truly is the thief of joy, and it will begin to take you out. Okay. So I want to make sure that you don't fall into that trap so that you can just be successful, not just in business, but just really just be grateful on how you're showing up every single day. Okay. So let's do a quick recap. 10 mistakes. Bios, having a whack bio. Making it only about you is number 2. Over sexualizing your social media is number 3. Only having infographics. Like, this is just a stale, static feed. We don't want to see that. Talking to everyone, number 5. If you try to talk to everyone, that means you're talking to no one. Number 6, not showing up authentically. Number 7, not showing up regularly. Number 8, speaking too technical. So all it is that infographic language. Let me go back to this technical one. Listen, use ChatGPT to generate ideas, but don't make it you. It's not your voice. So use it for ideas. Don't use it for all the stuff. Number 9, this is the one that I want you to highlight. Getting defensive. Don't be on there being that angry person on social media all the time with your neck rolled, right? Creating more enemies than you are creating allies. And then also number 10, comparing leads to imposter syndrome. It leads to, just really not being able to show up authentically as who you are. And we don't want that, because guess what? You are one of one. We need you. The real estate bestie community needs you. The people in your neighborhood need you. They need you to be, just a person of integrity, upright, going to help them throughout this real estate process. And if we are, falling into these traps, it may just really impact our ability to serve at a high level. So as always, I hope that this was a helpful episode. I love it when you share it. I love it when you leave a review. Honestly, more than love it. What that does is it puts us in front of the right real estate besties who are they're looking for us. Do you know that they are looking for us, but they can't find us, and I can't do it on my own? So the more that you share, when you leave reviews, it just lets all of the algorithms and all the places know, hey, we are doing something really special in Real Estate Bestie, and they need to tell more people about it. Okay, I love you so very much. Don't forget to head on over to the birthday, rosemarylewis.com/birthday. Let me know exactly who you are and what you have learned or continue to learn from the podcast. And I will talk to you next week. Bye, bestie. If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.